Welcome to my channel, where your adventure into the future starts right now. Step into a vibrant universe filled with groundbreaking technology, breathtaking alien landscapes, and exhilarating sci-fi narratives that challenge your imagination. From daring explorations of distant galaxies to haunting journeys through dystopian societies, we uncover the most captivating stories and innovative ideas that will shape the world of tomorrow. Subscribe today and join us on an incredible intergalactic voyage that promises to inspire and thrill. In the annals of galactic history, the concept of resilience was often reserved for those species that had faced the harshest of challenges, those who had endured the weight of oppression, the suffering of war, or the crushing toll of environmental catastrophe. Resilience was seen as the domain of those who had survived after great loss, who had fought and bled to protect their way of life, or had weathered centuries of scarcity and conflict. Across the stars, countless species had endured their trials, some more gracefully than others, but each had their own stories to tell about overcoming the hardships of their environments, their wars, and their nature. The species of the galaxy, in all their diverse splendor, had their unique ways of facing adversity. Some adapted to the crushing cold of deep space, their bodies evolving with intricate biological processes to survive in frozen vacuum. Others had become masters of their environment, bending gravity itself to their will, their civilization built upon towering spires that stretched into the heavens. Yet, none of these species had ever seen anything quite like humanity. Humanity's resilience was a marvel that began to emerge only after humans set foot in space. At first, it seemed trivial, a mere curiosity. Earth, a modest world teeming with life, had long been isolated from the more advanced civilizations that populated the galactic core. The other species saw Earth as a backwater, a young planet still in its infancy, struggling with the basics of space travel. The idea that humans could overcome the challenges of space seemed laughable, even naive. But the universe, vast and indifferent, has a way of testing all its inhabitants, and humans, for all their faults, had one thing that set them apart: an unyielding determination to survive, no matter the odds. When humans first encountered the vacuum of space, they did so with a kind of innocence, lacking the sophistication of their galactic counterparts. Their first forays into space were filled with mistakes, failures, and near catastrophes. But what shocked the alien observers was not the mistakes themselves, it was the way humans responded to failure. Instead of faltering, instead of retreating into defeat, humanity adapted and pushed forward, undeterred by the void that surrounded them. It was not merely a matter of survival, it was a matter of making the most of every mistake, every failure, and every misstep. Humans learned quickly, often in ways that seemed almost reckless to the more cautious species of the galaxy. The first shock to alien observers came when humanity began to push the boundaries of zero-gravity environments. While other species had long mastered the art of surviving in space, their bodies had adapted to it over millennia. Their physiology had been altered, shaped by generations of life in the weightless void, giving them a natural grace in environments where humans stumbled and faltered. Human bodies were not designed for zero gravity. They were fragile, their bones not as dense, their muscles not as powerful. For most other species, this would have been a permanent handicap, something that would limit their ability to thrive in the harsh vacuum of space. But humanity did not shrink from this challenge. Instead, they faced it head-on. In the early years, human space missions were marked by a series of awkward movements and clumsy miscalculations. Astronauts floated weightlessly, their limbs flailing as they tried to navigate the complexities of zero gravity. It was a far cry from the sleek, controlled grace of the more advanced species, who had long since developed specialized suits and techniques for surviving in the weightless expanse. Yet, what humans lacked in natural talent, they made up for with ingenuity. They designed tools and techniques that allowed them to move efficiently in space, despite their bodies' lack of adaptation. They learned to use their surroundings, to grip and push off walls, to move in ways that seemed unnatural but were effective. Their resilience was not a matter of biological advantage, it was a matter of relentless persistence, of never accepting that failure was an option. As time went on, humanity's ability to adapt to zero gravity grew. The first space stations, which had been nothing more than primitive outposts, became hubs of human ingenuity. Astronauts trained in harsh, zero-gravity environments, learning to repair and maintain the machinery that kept them alive. They learned to work in tandem, to cooperate in ways that were essential for survival in the vacuum of space. Their bodies, while not naturally suited to the weightlessness of the environment, were trained to adapt, to become more efficient in their movements. The human body, it turned out, was surprisingly resilient, able to withstand the physical stresses of zero gravity far better than anyone had anticipated. To the aliens watching, this was nothing short of miraculous. Many species had long since adapted to their own environments, whether it was the harsh atmospheres of gas giants, the crushing gravity of massive planets, or the inhospitable landscapes of distant moons. But the human response to zero gravity was something different. They didn't just adapt to the conditions, they mastered them. Over time, human spacefarers became some of the most efficient and skilled individuals in the galaxy when it came to working in zero-gravity environments. They did not glide gracefully through the void like other species, they surged through it, using every ounce of their energy and willpower to thrive in the vast emptiness. The true test of human resilience in zero gravity came when humanity began to construct large space habitats, vast, artificial environments that could house entire populations. These stations were not just meant for scientific exploration or military conquest, they were built as homes for people who had no other place to live. They were a response to the increasingly crowded and resource-depleted conditions on Earth. They were a sign that humanity had come to understand the challenges of space in ways that other species had not. And once again, it was their sheer determination, their willingness to face failure head-on, that drove them forward. Alien species, who had once seen humanity as a minor player in the galactic stage, began to take notice. The sheer scale of what humans were accomplishing in space was something none had expected. While other civilizations were content to colonize planets with gravity similar to their own, humans were turning the very void of space into a place where life could flourish. Their ingenuity and resilience were on full display. They had taken something that was universally feared, the absence of gravity, and transformed it into a new frontier for civilization. What shocked the alien observers even more than humanity's technical achievements was their social adaptability in these zero-gravity environments. While other species had technology and biological adaptations that allowed them to survive in space, they still maintained rigid, hierarchical structures. In contrast, humans, with their ability to cooperate and form teams in even the most extreme conditions, created communities in space that were truly collaborative. There was a sense of shared responsibility, a unity that allowed them to overcome the enormous challenges of living in the harsh void. This communal spirit was something that many of the galactic powers had long abandoned. They were still tied to rigid social structures that didn't allow for the kind of free-flowing cooperation humanity had developed. This new approach to space living had profound implications for the galaxy. It was not just that humanity had managed to survive in zero gravity, it was that they had thrived in it. The alien observers were stunned by the creativity and resourcefulness displayed by human spacefarers. They built their habitats not just with the latest technology, but with the ingenuity that arose from their collective will to survive and improve. Where other species had created rigid, mechanized, and sterile environments, humans created space habitats that were designed for people to live in, not just to survive. The stations were filled with greenery, parks, and open spaces. They had schools, businesses, art galleries, and social spaces. They were more than just places to work, they were places to live, to grow, and to explore. And it wasn't just the physical adaptations that astounded the alien observers. It was the way humanity approached the psychological and emotional challenges of life in space. The isolation, the confinement, the endless stretch of stars, these were challenges that had driven many species to madness. But humans, in their resilience, found ways to cope with these stresses. They developed support systems, psychological training, and deep bonds of friendship that allowed them to endure the extreme loneliness of space. They found ways to maintain their emotional and mental well-being, even when isolated for months or years at a time. This was a feat that most species had never mastered. As humanity expanded further into the stars, their reputation for resilience in zero-gravity environments spread. The galactic powers, who had once viewed humans with dismissiveness, now recognized them as a species that could not be underestimated. In the harshest conditions of the galaxy, whether it was the freezing cold of distant moons, the crushing gravity of gas giants, or the unforgiving void of space, humans had shown that they could not only survive, but thrive. This resilience, this ability to face overwhelming challenges without giving up, became humanity's defining trait. It was their greatest gift to the galaxy. Human space stations, built in the void of space, became more than just places of refuge. They became symbols. They were symbols of the enduring power of the human spirit, of humanity's unwavering belief that no challenge, no matter how daunting, could break them. To the alien species who watched in awe as humans conquered the impossible, Earth had become more than just the homeworld of a young species. It had become the birthplace of a new era. An era where resilience was not just about surviving adversity, but about turning adversity into opportunity. Where zero gravity, once seen as a barrier, became a canvas for humanity's ingenuity and determination. And in this new age, humanity's role in the galaxy was no longer that of an unknown, struggling species, but of a leader, a symbol of the boundless potential that lay in every sentient being willing to face the impossible. Thus, humanity's resilience in zero-gravity environments was not just a triumph of survival, it was a testament to the spirit of all who dared to dream, to explore, and to never give up. In the end, it was this relentless drive, this refusal to be defeated by the universe itself, that would forever shape humanity's place in the stars. And the galaxy, in turn, would never forget the species that learned to fly in the void, not through natural gifts, but through the sheer power of will.